Karen is an illustrator and writer with a main focus on literature and learning for children. In the fall of 2015, she started the graduate program at North Carolina State University, College of Design, Animation, and Interactive Media, as a way to deepen her understanding of ways to convey resonant stories through motion and emerging technologies. Her creative title tonight is Emerge Story Lab, utilizing new technologies for bedtime stories. When asked, what are the 3 words that describe you best? She said, persistent, observant, intuitive. Everybody, Karen Jones.
Thank you. All right, when you're ready. All right, so my day job, which I've practiced the last 20 or 30 years, is as a children's illustrator, primarily for the children's market. I do a lot of educational work, textbooks, picture books. Here's a sample of some of my work. In addition to the work that I do as a visual storyteller, I also write stories, and I've had several works published. Some of them are in poetry, and some of them are just strictly prose. My particular focus is on learning and education for children. Literacy is a foundation for all further success as a learner and a contributor in life. This work is all done digitally in Photoshop. I've done lots of work over the past 12 years for Highlights for Children. Even in a picture like this without any words, there's a lot of story. There's setting, there's mood, there's characters, and there's some plot. And if you know anything about Highlights for Children, you know that they're famous for their hidden pictures, and you now have 20 seconds to find 16 hidden pictures. Go. You can shout them out. Nobody sees a pencil. No? Boomerang? So even in an image like this that has absolutely no text, there's still a lot of words. There's the setting, which was given to me by the creative director at Highlights for Children. It needs to be in this setting. But then I had to develop a story that went with it, and the characters that populated it, and give them some action. In this image, I created this just as personal exploration, and I began with the story just of an elephant. And I had to have an elephant doing something, so I put him on a bike. And then he needed some cohorts, so I added, you know, his fellow, the pink pig, and the leader. But they needed a place to go and something to do, so I created this setting for them. And even in this static image, there's a lot of foreshadowing and then allusion to what may have happened in the past. So in this story, you can see that they're on their way to find the missing woolly worm, and that there is a substantial reward because several tabs have been pulled off, which may cause some trouble for them in the future. And you can also see that woolly worm probably is now a butterfly. So this slide is dark because 3 years ago, I hit a bump in my life. My career fell apart, my marriage ended, and my kids were heading off to school. So I decided to reinvent my own story. And I did that by enrolling in the College of Design at North Carolina State University, where I'm majoring in animation, new media, with a way to bring my storytelling into motion. The next slide is going to show my very first animation that I created just a year ago at State, and here it is. This is all done with digital media, using sort of a traditional aesthetic, and the assignment was just to create a walk cycle, but of course I had to add my backstory, my foreshadowing, and my extension of the story. So in my studio last year, we were assigned a project that we had to do some project that was good for the North Carolina community as a whole. And other than that, it was pretty wide open. This is my family. I'm the one on the far right. My sister Susan in the center was born profoundly deaf in 1965 due to a rubella epidemic. She wasn't diagnosed as deaf until she was 3, so until then she had absolutely no exposure to literacy. We all come to believe this: the single most important activity for building knowledge required for eventual success in reading is reading aloud to children, but many deaf children do not have that. So my project was to create a tablet ebook for deaf that has embedded sign language animation. So it's a story that's created just for children and their families to share in ASL, which is a native language for many deaf children. I chose lemurs as my characters. That was one of my connections to North Carolina because of the Duke Lemur Center. They also have incredible character. They have very diverse habits. Some are diurnal, some are nocturnal, and they have all the right digits for sign language. And these are some of the characters that I developed in creating the stories that I've begun writing. They're written and illustrated, and then in addition, I'm doing the animation that is overlaid. So this is my narrator character. He's Indri Lemur, and I chose him because he's more mature. He seems a little outside the story, but also he's highly colored. And when he's signing, you can see his hands highlighted against his body, and it makes the sign language a lot more legible. This is my daughter's roommate, Sierra. She's an American Sign Language Deaf Studies major at UNC Greensboro, and she did the translating for me, which I filmed on a green screen so I would have a good template to create understandable American Sign Language. And this is a prototype of how this is all going to look when it comes together. And he just said, one morning ringtail saw the very last fruit. And I believe that is my last slide. Anyway, this project has gotten a lot of love. I submitted a paper to an international conference, and I learned a week ago that my paper has been accepted. And now I have to go to Sweden to present it.